Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about remote education and let's start with the definition.
Remote education, this is a kind of education when you are not going to the school or for example, to university, but you make it from your hospital, from your hotel, from your flat. First time I saw remote education, it was in Australia. I was working with some farmers and they were having a big amount of land. They grow some corn, they grow sheep and so on. And when I was asking why child do not go to the school, I was answered that school far away from this distant point, but children, they have special TV channel and they could spend time making their exercises with this TV. Second time I was in Japan, and the same question I asked my colleague why their children do not go to school, and he told me that in Japan a lot of diseases which are taken by childs in children garden because they have not very hot heating. So sometimes when a child have some disease, he will be asked, or his parents will be asked not to allow to go to children garden or to school, to sit at home, to not throw this illness for everyone. And they were using not TV, but special kind of mixture between TV and notebooks and robots. It was like a small humanoid with screen, and on the screen you will see some indentation, some exercise, you have some keyboards to answer. And you know, it's very funny. When I saw it for the very first time, I was thinking, if it is concerning me, I would be very pleased to work with such devices. But all childs in Japan do not like this humanoid because he give not just a good marks and sometimes says some строгие, severe rules.
Yeah, so probably humanoids with a strict or rigid rules, or the humanoid that actually give you the real mark probably would be something that children would probably try to avoid. But when it comes to the remote education, obviously there might be like at least two different sides: the teacher side, or the person who actually provides certain knowledge, and another side is the pupil. So maybe we could look at it from the two sides as well. But before doing that, maybe we can have a look into what are the fundamentals, what are the principles, or even building blocks of such a skill.
Let's explain on my personal example. I was living in a small village in Chernigovska region of Ukraine, and it is very small and it is very remote, surrounded by forests. And to go to any large city, it would take me at least 1.5 hours if I'm lucky to catch a bus or train. And on the some period when I was going to 8th class, I was writing special letter to remote education school Quant in Moscow. It is belong to Moscow State University, named by Lomonosov. And I was asking if it is possible to be a pupil. I was given some exam, and I have in back in like an answer set of books, and each month I should write several контрольные, some essays,
Tests.
some tests, and on special copy books, just on right side of each разворот.
Turn of the pages.
Turn of the pages. Turn. And after this, in 10 days, I will get back a small parcel with my copybooks, but on the left turn page, I will have writing by my remote teacher. So I never saw nobody, and I was never seen by my teacher. I was sent books, and I was sending copybooks and backward. And one more, if I want to have a paper diploma, I should go to special place, for example, to Kiev or to Moscow, to sit with real teachers, and they should assure that I am not using some kind of hints or шпаргалка.
Well, there is no such a word in English, but probably some sort of like a hidden paper or anything like this.
Okay. And just in this case, I could get a paper, but in any other case, I maybe have a knowledge, but I couldn't prove it.
So when it comes to different levels of conducting this remote education, obviously it could be, like a sending like a papers or materials back and forth, or maybe there might be some sort of like a technology. What might be other different modes of interacting with the students? Like maybe it's like a one-on-one interaction or within the group.
Let's start first level when I was sending copybooks. It was like 30 years ago. It was very funny and волнительно.
Worrying.
And worrying. Second time I was learning like a distance. I was learning some subjects in Germany. I live in Germany, but I wanted to finish my education, and I was writing some essays almost each week on different topics, and I got a marks. And third level, I was learning with site. Its name was Linda.com. Canadian one. Linda.com was bought by LinkedIn, and LinkedIn was bought by Microsoft. And I was learning on Linda.com in special cabinet some lessons for Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and some other Microsoft stuff. And there were not writings, not letters, but it was voice recordings. It was time when not too many people having video cameras, webcams, but it was time when teacher was writing me voice message. I was typing, so my job was to make typo, but my teachers were recording for me audio.
And from the position of the pupil, actually, like when it comes to, especially nowadays, when it comes to like a selecting of different options for the remote education, whether you want to go to specific like a university, as far as I know, in Europe, it's probably somehow possible to, like to get a degree by doing everything as like a remotely, or at least like to get certain like a certificate, like they can do in Stanford, or maybe go to specific course. What should be maybe the mindset or the program that should we build for ourselves in order to get what we want in a credible entity?
First, you should have a program of the subject you want to learn, because you should know all the topics you should understand. For example, we have one friend in common, and his daughter will be moved in Dubai and will go to the school in very short period, maybe in 5 weeks. And even now we are preparing an article how to choose the school. And this girl was passing exams in a remote way. So first you have program, and you should understand what you know, what you don't know. Second, maybe you should ask for your previous tests to check what you know, what you don't know. And third, you should be able to read some topics on website or on the books, but usually this is or PDF manuals, or this is some special library on the site. And also it could be like a training, some special simulation of the exam. It really helps. For example, even to get Russian driver lessons, I was using remote education. I just bought an application, very easy one, and for one day I was just answering several times for the tickets, and on the next day I was in this police station and I passed this exam out.
And obviously, like when we as a students attend to the remote education, maybe the results might be the groups, because some of the like educational entities, they would have like a group study. So what should be the interaction within the group? Because as far as I know, like previously, like a long time ago, I was doing the courses like on a Coursera or Khan Academy. So usually along with all of the lectures that you also have some sort of like a chat with the group and community, and somehow you might be giving like some sort of like assignments to work together in order to, like maybe get even the deeper understanding of the study. So what should be the, I would say like ideal or even efficient interaction between the teacher and the group itself?
Maxim, we're just looking for it. For example, in our school of troubleshooting you're attending right now, we also use just remote education. For example, you are staying right now in Dubai. Previously, you was in Singapore, and we were staying in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, or sometimes we were conducting lectures from Ulan-Ude or from Maldives or from Sochi or some other cities. So first, you should have a conspect. Is there any word, the same word in English, conspect?
Conspect or notes.
You should have notes. Second, it is good to have presentation. And maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we were showing our presentation, but suddenly we realized that if we are showing these topics, no one tried to make a conspect. So everyone was just making screenshots or video shots, and just полагаться на них. Rely on them. Yes, thank you. So we decided not to show presentation, but before any lecture, I ask student what they remember, and I also have some small notes, and I just put some marks. This was repeated. This was known, and this was missed out. And if something is missed out, it is not about student, it's about me. So I was not getting hard on this point.
And when it comes to the tutor, the teacher itself, so probably, as you mentioned before, like when you make notes, it probably would help with the future presentations, or maybe like improving something which is in between. But what should be the other ways to, like approach to teaching the group? So for example, let's say if the group is like moving fast, or the group is moving slow, or the group is moving to a different direction, because obviously different people might be having like a different opinions or different questions. How this entire process should be managed so that, in order all of the pupils, they will get this essential piece of knowledge that they came for.
To be honest, it was several times complete fuck up, and I know that my partner Daniel will say that I am not used to these words, but it was real fuck up. When we were having like 20 person or more on the same screen, it was several times when all lecture was spent just for answering questions. So we decided that 5 to 10 person, it's quite enough. I don't know how it's happened, but the main problem is that if you are, for example, making a remote education for school or for university, all people, they want to have marks and to move forward. But in real life, for example, for School of Troubleshooters, sometimes it would be like some person going for 1 month, another for 1 year, another for 2 years, and some of guys like you for 3 years. And if, for example, you spend with us like 1 year, your speech will fast, your brain will rapid, and you will react as I don't know how to say истребитель, fighter, plane fighter, or just fighter.
Just a fighter.
Just a fighter. Yes, but some people who just attending first or second time, they would be like a turtle, and you could do nothing with this.
And when it comes to the future of the remote education, obviously it's actually already happened. Most of the information that we consume is going through this like a blue screen, or just like a headphones that we have. But whether it will be like a different areas of the sensations, like a use, or maybe like different modes, or maybe even deeper study of certain things that was not possible before. Like for example, if you want to look into the depth of the ocean, or maybe we want to learn something about the human body, and we don't really need to have an access to the entire gear, but it still will be possible through the technology. So what kind of future awaits us here?
It was time when I was attending Kyiv Polytechnical Institute, and no one was having computers, and we were lucky to be in laboratory with these great machines. But one by one, me and my friends, we were buying some computer parts and assembling them, and it became, I don't know, maybe on second course, that our home or hostel computers were more powerful than cathedral ones. So we were not like to go, we don't want to go to sit on these old ones and dirty computers, because everyone was typing but without washing the hands. And it was the first time when I think better to do a lot of homework at hostel and just to show the results. The same would be maybe in nearest future. Probably also saw this Vision Pro by Apple. This is augmented reality, I don't know how to say, handset. And if everyone would wear it, it doesn't matter where the people taking place, at home or on vacation, on the beach, or maybe in class. To to support schools, it's cost some money. And if I will use less amount of rooms, and for example, just physical laboratory, chemical laboratory, and maybe gym, it would be quite enough. But just ordinary plain rooms, it is not necessary to keep. Children could go a bit later in school, not to spend morning time in the bus, just by sitting in these augmented reality handsets.
And since we mentioned the like abundance of the knowledge or like access to different things, maybe we actually go back to the ground question, because sometimes it feels, because it's not really like a mandatory that, you know, like you have to attend certain classes or some of the things you could skip. So I do believe, even I'm guilty of doing this, like you would buy like a certain classes and would never ever attend them, but they would just like be stored on this like a virtual shelf of like a never the things that I will do like a never. So what should be the approach in order to at least like you know, like go through the items and make sure that you not really waste your time or like a mental energy on buying something that you don't really need?
Maxim, it's a very hard topic to answer. You know, I'm thinking about this almost every day. Not exactly every day, but very often, because there are several skills in School of Troubleshooters which I know they are really important to the people, but no one want to attend them. So I'm looking for a way how to give this knowledge. For example, you have been to Theory of Games, and that was for third time, and just for third time we develop the way how to explain this theory without metrics, without equation, without theory of probability. So it's became not so deep, but I hope it was a bit funny. So it's depend from person of teacher and also from the way how you will get this knowledge. If you love the teacher or topic, you will learn. But if you don't like or teacher or topic, you will not learn. And nobody can do something with this. In Russia, there is a site, I don't know exactly the name of it, but Maxim Kolpakov know, because he was working with this project. There is a oligarch who spent his money in some small amount to collect the best lectures from different school teachers and people and their parents and pupils. They paying by money, small amount, really small amount, money pay, and also given marks. And it was like selection of best teachers who give the best understandable lectures, and I was quite fascinated. It is a good example how could we grow as the best field of knowledge.
And you actually touch one of the things that I probably want to talk more like in more details. Just like when you love the teacher or love the subject, but the result might be some sort of like a goal that you're trying to achieve, and like no matter circumstances, basically it's like I do believe at a certain point of time you should be agnostic to whatever the interface you get, whatever the information you are going through. But like if it's helpful, you need to make sure that you're just gonna get it. But how to approach to building your program when it comes to even the remote education, because like there are so many choices, there are so many ways that you can go, there are so many books that you can read, there are so many people that you can speak to, but how to approach to choosing the right things in right order?
Maxim, I will tell you not a funny, not a sad, but in average story. When I was trying to get just 5 marks in Kyiv Polytechnical Institute, suddenly I realized that no chance to have this just by reading books and sitting in the room, in the hostel. So each day I was going to the library and I was sitting there. I was taking several books of different lecturers and I was reading them all. And then on exam, I could switch from one theory to another theory. And it was not easy. Sometimes I was reading books, and then I was sleeping on this table, and then again reading these books, but no other way. The same right now, but now even worse. You have a phone, you have internet, you have Wi-Fi, you have messengers, and so on. And almost each day I am working in a blind mode when I make my phone and my iPad and my notebook in flight mode. without any connection to the internet. And you know, it's really funny, and I'm sorry to say this, but sometimes I don't know why I just push the button with Chrome, and then I realize, but I am already cut off from the internet. And why I am doing this? This is just a habit. So first, this is not about program. This is how to switch off from the net.
The last question, just to wrap this up, will be how knowing about remote education could help to make this world a better place.
I was living in a small village, and I was happy to have a remote education from Moscow. This is largest Russian-speaking town in post-Soviet Union territory. The same we have in modern time. If you're, for example, living in Omsk, or you living in some remote city and you couldn't attend best universities, you are lucky enough to have some free courses of Cambridge, of Wharton, and SEAT, and some others. So a lot of people who even have no money, but just short internet access, they could gain brilliant knowledge from the very top scientists. And if person wants to be smart, he or she will get it. But if it would be like in jail, under the pressure, nothing will happen. So you should free your mind and be доброволец. Goodwill.
Volunteer.
Volunteer. And you should be volunteer by yourself.
Мы живем во время высокой доступности информации, поэтому используйте ее с умом. А мы рассмотрели навык удаленное обучение и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира.